Okay, good evening. It's 5:30. Welcome to the Page Unified School District meeting, public hearing and regular meeting. Today is Tuesday, July 9th, 2024. It is now 5:30. We're starting the meeting at 5:30. I have a quorum. Desiree said she will be right back. She's just running for some glasses. And we'll go right ahead with the first part of this evening's agenda, which is a call to order for a public hearing. And we're starting with the presentation of the fiscal year 25 proposed expenditure budget. Dr. Anderson?
President Kidman, members of the governing board, this presentation of the FY25 proposed expenditure budget is the same presentation that was provided to the board in June. The Auditor General was still updating their documents. We will be updating the budget in our first budget revision and bringing it back to the board in September. But I would ask Ms. Wilson if she would please take the board through the presentation again.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Superintendent Anderson, President Kidman, and the rest of the governing board members. First off, did you actually see this presentation already? Did you see it, or was it just given to you with the, okay, I won't worry about it, I'll present it. Okay, to start with, these are the goals we want to achieve every year basically, and we were able to, even with this not increased budget for the fiscal year 25, salary increases did happen for all staff. The amount ensures that those are buying up in their plan will not see a decrease in their paychecks. That was our fear because our health insurance went up so significantly. So they will not see a decrease, which is good for all of us. We were able to keep all our operational spending at the levels to maintain all our current class sizes. So we still have very small class sizes here. We will not have to eliminate any of our current academic or athletic programs. And of course, again, we're honoring our current medical package, which means no one has to pay unless they want to pay up for the premium package. Okay? Sorry. Okay, let's start with our average daily membership, which you guys know drives how much money we receive from the state. So you can see we've been on a steady decline. What I'm proposing for fiscal year 25 is that we drop around 63 kids. We kind of were surprised last year we dropped more than we expected. We had dropped 75 kids. So now with the opening of another kindergarten, we're at least anticipating that we can, when we revise it and we go up, hey, it's better than revising and going down. So here, oops, you can read that. This explains our budget limits, the general budget limit, the comparison from last year to this year. So again, like he said, this is only here because we are statutorily required to present this. This is not going to be our budget. I'm going to come back to you on August 13th and present to you our real fiscal year 25 budget with the new budget amounts. So as it is though already, we didn't go down that significantly in our revenue control limit. We'll be able to make that up when we get the increased student levels. Our tuition remains the same. I did move for the district additional assistance. I chose not this year to move any money. We're going to use it all in our M&O. The budget balance carry forward. So here I have to do what's at that present time, which was the 1.8 million when I did this and proposed it in June. But actually we're going to come upwards of not 3.8, but about 2.8. So when you see that difference, the decrease, as much as you see a decrease there, that should significantly go up. And it will not be such a difference between fiscal year 24 and 25. Okay, this is our primary tax rate. This is based on the primary assessed value for the city of Page, how much value for all of our properties. At this rate, with last year's amounts done this year, it shows our primary tax will go up. That is not necessarily the case. It could come out at the same amount when I do my revision, just so you know, okay? All right, here's what our M&O budget looks like. I still have to kind of lay it out, shows that that's still the bigger percentages in our salary and benefits. Even with the reduced amount are not our final figures. We aren't down that significantly. Most of the money we will gain back will go into salary and benefits, because that is pretty much about almost 80% of our budget. Okay, this is just a breakdown. Again, I give you this every year, so you see that such a significant portion is salary and benefits for our staff.
Ms. Wilson, can I have you go back 2 slides, please?
2 slides, that one?
Yes, the one piece that I just want to point out is the total cost for education for the city of Page residents is $3,165,366.
Correct.
The state of Arizona makes up the remaining balance, which is $14,653.
And
Yes.
right, it's called our state equalization. That is what the
State
state gives. Yes, the taxpayer portion is the 3 million, significantly less. The state does provide us a good share of our money, which we are very thankful for. Thanks. Okay, these are our new figures. Now, I received them like a couple of days before we did. We were going to have to put in for the adopted, so it wasn't enough time. You guys would have had to come in and meet for a special meeting. I didn't want to do that for you guys. So this is the base level funding amount that I'm going to do for August 13th. You can see it's an increase of $98.29 per student, per pupil, okay? So I'm also going to look at our ADM at the time. It'll give me a chance to see school have started, so I may not reduce it by 63 students if when they arrive at school, a lot of kids are in their seats. Also, our bus route miles increased a little bit, 6 cents a mile, but hey, we'll take it. Unrestricted capital budget, this is where all our capital comes from. You can see actually the way we did it, we actually have more this year for capital, which I did because we no longer have ESSER. And we still want to stick to the pattern of increasing at least 1 bus a year for our students. If you have any questions? Okay, our classroom site fund. Now this one is already set, like as far as what the funding is. It's based on last year's weighted student count. So this is going to be it. So our proposed, we aren't going to get quite as much, but that again is based on 63 less students. I could change in August 13th. Our carry forward did go up a little bit. And so that's the proposed amount. But our expenditures for next year have increased quite a bit because of the way it increases for the staff and how we did it. Okay? Are there any questions? And remind you, like I said, this is just, I mean, a requirement. It'll come back on August 13th with the increased values.
And President Kidman, members of the governing board, I'd also like to point out that when the original budget was developed, the legislature had not set the increase. The legislature did set a 2% inflation increase for fiscal year 25.
It's mandatory that at least 2% every year in the state of Arizona. We just got the minimum this year. Last year we got significantly more, but this year it's the 2%. So that's it.
Okay.
Any other questions? Any questions? No?
I will ask a question.
Okay.
So I was looking at salary and benefits, and typically it should hover around 80, and we're at 75%. So I'm wondering, is it because we do a lot of salaries out of?
Right, I had to take, just to meet it till we got our full amount, I had to slide some salaries in some different funding sources. And so I will move them back in when we do. That is the reason it is the 74%.
Now, under purchased services, would some of our special services for our sped kids be over that?
Yes, that is, but as you can see, they're quite a bit less. For one thing, we're hopeful that we have a site this year that we do not have to contract out for. But at this point, I mean, just because I had to make the budget work, I'll have a better look when I get the increased amount and our carry forward. But yes, it really, that high amount is from all our specials, mostly from our special services. And we're hoping it's not quite as high next year.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
All right. Okay, that brings us to our truth and taxation hearing. Dr. Anderson?
President Kidman, members of the governing board, posted on the screen is our truth in taxation. One of the only tax that the governing board of a school district can levy is for adjacent ways funding. We are proposing a $100,000 adjacent ways fund for the coming year. This is absolutely critical and instrumental in maintaining all of our parking lots. We are in the process of looking at adding a parking lot to be able to support our patrons at our gymnasium because the parking lots were not developed to accommodate the numbers of fans that we get. But this really comes down to a maintenance and upkeep. I would much rather maintain than replace 5-10 years down the road.
So what he said, no. Okay, so really this hearing is to notify you that there will be an increase for that 100,000. Now, again, we put in for 100,000 last year and paid, it was just shy of 11%. As of the way these figures come out with the lower amount, it is 17.36 per 100,000 value of a home this year. But again, that could be adjusted depending on what happens when we get our increased value. So it's really $6 more per 100,000 than you already saw last year. And we're just going to carry forward that if you guys vote for the truth and taxation amount. And that's for the $100,000 for everything he said.
How much money do we have in adjacent way funding right now? Do
We
you know? Just approximately.
It's just shy of 400,000, and we want to raise it because our whole bus transportation area needs to be redone, and it's going to be ripped up when they actually have to put in these fuel tanks, or pull them out, I should say.
That's
And
expensive.
right, so that's why we are going to go ahead and have $100,000.
No, I mean, you've heard me say it before. I think we should do a minimum of 100,000 every year, no matter what.
Right.
Just to maintain our parking lots.
Well, just so you know, we also spent about 100,000 this year resurfacing a bunch, so it's kind of like we're staying at least status quo, so we can do all that extra work.
One of the other future potential projects, I'm in the process of trying to get a meeting with officials from the city. We need to extend our queuing area at Lakeview Primary because we can only get 7 of our 14 buses on the ramp at any given time. So the meeting for the short term, we're going to look at restricting parking if the city is open to that in order to be able to queue all 14 of our buses. But we are going to have to expand that bus ramp, which would require adjacent ways funding.
Any other questions about it? Everybody understands what adjacent ways, it's restrictive uses, yeah, fire lanes and bus, okay. Any other questions? Thank you very much.
All right. All right, then, do we have any questions from the public regarding our next year's budget at this time? Okay, I'll take that as a no. We'll then adjourn our public hearing. I need a motion in a second.
I'll make a motion to adjourn public hearing.
I second that motion.
Okay, all in favor to adjourn public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay, sounded unanimous. Public hearing is adjourned at 5:44. Okay, thank you. Okay. That brings us then to our regular board meeting, which is starting at 5:44. We'll start with the roll call. Dr. Anderson, please.
Bryce Anderson.
Mike Mangum. Chuck Weiss.
Sandra Kidman.
Desiree Beller, Bunny Cochran, Barb Shields.
Thank you. Thanks for being here, everybody. Nice to have everybody here. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I asked Mr. Wise to lead us in that, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. If you could now join me in a moment of silent meditation, please. Okay, thank you. That brings us to an action item, which is the approval of the agenda. I need a motion and a second, please.
I'll make a motion.
To approve the agenda.
Okay,
I'll second.
all right. All in favor to approve the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. Okay, that brings us to item 4, announcements and comments. Did you want to read that, Mike, or do I usually read that?
I can read it. Mine's all,
Would you please? Thank you.
I've already paper, mine's locked up.
Oh, here you go, right there.
Public complaints concerning facilities, services, personnel, and instruction are not heard by the board until the district's due process procedures are followed. Forms for filing complaints are available at the superintendent's office. To address the board, please fill out a blue card and give to the board secretary or the superintendent. The board reserves the right to limit public comment to time restraint to 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you. All right, I have one blue card. Just a reminder, you have 3 minutes, and it's Mr. Joe Vernon, please. Make sure. Who's gonna take the time? You know? Thank you.
It's like talking to a judge.
I wouldn't know. It sounds like it.
Yes.
Could you check the mic? Can we hear you?
Test, test.
Yes, okay, awesome, thank you. Go ahead.
Ready?
Yep,
Go ahead.
All right. Since 2019, a dozen eggs have increased by 98%, bread by 53%, coffee by 44%, beef by 35%. Shrink inflation is even worse because now we pay more for less. This governing board has approved a 4-day school week. That should decrease all your costs for services to students, like heating, cooling, maintenance, labor, yet you're asking for more money with the tax increase. We taxpayers can barely afford groceries. You just had a property tax increase in 2022. Coconino County also increased our property tax in 2022. Now, just 2 years later, PUSD and the county have their hands in our pockets once again for another increase. Shame on you for even asking us for more money. You have the responsibility to cut costs, not force more taxes down our throats. When tainted food is found on the grocery store shelf, a recall is swiftly announced and the bad food is pulled off the shelves. When books full of rape, incest, oral sex, and pornography are found on our school library shelves, what happens? Nothing. You're using our hard-earned tax dollars to peddle porn to our own kids. Luke 12:48, Jesus said, to whomsoever much is given, much is required.
1 minute.
I'm yelling fire, and you guys are the fire truck. Please vote no on more burdensome taxes. Please take a stand and rid our library of pornography. May God have mercy on us. God bless America. I also have, these are the books There's 13 of them in the school library. Can I hand them to you?
30 seconds.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, that brings us to item 5, special business, recognition and approval of donations made to the school district. The following donations were made to the district: $2,000 from VFW Left Hand, the Fur Post 9632 to Culinary Arts Club, $4,000 from the Arizona Academy of Performing Arts to Page Unified, $2,000 from the Page Elks Logs number 2498 to Culinary Arts, and also $565 from Amagiri Resorts Culinary Arts Club. So I need a motion and a second to approve the donations.
I make a motion to approve the donations as listed.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Thank you. The donations were accepted. We want to thank everybody who's donated so generously to our school district. I think we're going to talk about culinary a little later. So, very good. Okay, that brings us to our next item, item 6, reports. Mike, you want to start off? Voting board reports?
I don't have anything at this time.
Okay, Chuck, anything? Okay, I'm gonna let Mr. Anderson shower the praise on culinary arts a little later, but I was very excited to hear that, student did so well at the national competition. We're gonna have to invite her to come to the board meeting so we can, shower some praise on her. It's very exciting. Desiree, did you have something?
Yes, I just recently returned back from Portland, Oregon. I attended the National Unity Conference, my very first, and also as a female chaperone, it was very informative. There was over 3,000 students that participated in this event. A lot of American Indian Indigenous representation from all over the country, also from Alaska and Hawaii. And I must shower some praise as well too on our Navajo Language Unity Club students. They recognized quite a bit of flaws, but they were quick to fix the situation and really step forward, and our students got to present twice. The conference took place at the Oregon Convention Center, and they were basically in really tiny rooms. And in order to present, if you were going to use a projector, electricity cost was $400 for the 45 minutes. And so we improvised, and we have some really talented students. My son also got to attend as well. So Owen and Lucas Stevens played Lucas sang and played the drum. And also Owen got to perform his hoop dancing at the talent show. So that was pretty awesome. And just seeing the students representing, but also coming back from their trip very motivated. And I'm looking forward to see what they have to offer this coming year.
I have nothing at this time.
Okay, all right. That brings us to our superintendent's reports and comments.
President Kim and members of the governing board, I have one recognition that I'd like to offer. We have a tremendously talented student at Page High School who went to Seattle, Washington, and competed in the national culinary competition. Her instructor, Wyatt Swinton, went along, but the young lady, Miriam Sophia Lawson, ended up taking first place in the competition, which was representative of the entire country. Was the only, as I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, the only underclassman competing and beat out all of the upperclassmen in that process. So I will be extending an invitation for the board to recognize her at the August meeting, and we can get a photo with her as well. That's all I have to report.
All right, thank you. All right, that brings us to unfinished business. We don't have it. We do not have any at this time. Then item number 8 is the governing board consent agenda. Do you want to read that?
Yep. A copy of the consent agenda is available at the district office, administration office. All items listed will be considered as a unit by the governing board and will be approved with one motion. There will not be a separate discussion of these items unless a board member requests, in which the case will be removed from the consent agenda and considered as a separate item.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Can I make a remark on that? I like to move item J, 8J, the entire line item to the bottom there, additional agenda item. The reason being is we didn't have the Page High School handbook available to us earlier today when I met with the superintendent. And I quickly went through it really quick, but I would like to make some comments on the handbook. Just
So you want to make a motion to approve the consent agenda and remove item J?
J, correct.
Did you want to make that motion then?
Sure, I can make that motion to remove item J to be added to the additional agenda item.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do I have a second for that?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
I
Aye.
Did you?
Yes, I did, I'm sorry.
Okay, sorry, I couldn't hear you, so. Okay, unanimous. That brings us to, okay, don't let me forget about item J. Put it,
No, I don't even have it solid.
okay, we'll put it right here at the end.
Thank you.
Or do we have to discuss it right now? Does it matter? I can't remember. Doesn't matter, okay. It's just separate discussion. Okay, all right. Okay, give me a second. Check that all that way. Okay. Okay, that brings us to calendar of events. If you just look at your, sorry, let me pull it up real quick. Where is it? There it is. Okay, looks like we're getting full steam ahead to start the next school year here in the next few days. Our next regular board meeting is, here we go. So we got a bunch of registration outreach events going on, IEC meeting, new teachers start July 24th. Then there will be a welcome back at the CAB on July 29th. And first day of school is August 5th. And then our regular scheduled governing board meeting will be on August 13th. So just keep up eye on your calendar. I'm sure Barb will send us reminders when we need them. Thanks for that, by the way. Okay, so it looks pretty comprehensive, so just refer to that. Okay, that now brings us to item 10, which are additional agenda items. We're going to start with the second reading discussion and adoption of policy IJNBD, use of technology resources in instruction. Since that's an action item, I'm going to call for a vote right now.
I make a motion to accept the second reading discussion, possible adoption of the policy for IJNDB, use of technology, resource, and instruction.
Could I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Anderson?
President Kidman, members of the governing board, this policy revision comes from the Arizona School Boards Association. We had the first read of this policy in June. We also discussed the policy at our study session at the end of May.